Welcome to the She Rise podcast. I'm your host, Jaya Rose, a spiritual lifestyle and business mentor, and I am here to help ambitious, highly sensitive women just like you and me embody unshakable confidence in your gifts and create a scalable business that nourishes you and gives you the freedom lifestyle your soul craves. Ready? Let's get started. Hello and welcome back to the She Rise podcast. Today we are kicking off our conscious business series with the embodiment phase. And I'm very excited because if you've been following the podcast for any length of time, you know that embodiment is a big thing I talk about. In fact, last year, my core program, Embody, is really what I did. And it's kind of what I got known for. And so as I stretch into my fullest purpose and sharing all of me, which really is around this conscious business model, I recognized that embodiment is 1/4 of it. And I recognized that because clients kept needing more. So we're going to have a conversation today about what embodiment looks like in your business, but then also what it leads you to. Because it's never just this or that question. It's always a yes and question. Yes, and then what? And I'm going to sort of lead you to the next phase today, which is expression, and talk to you about how these two things tie in together. So let's get started. If we've never met, hi, my name is Jaya Rose. I am a spiritual lifestyle and business mentor. And I specifically help highly sensitive women who are ambitious, meaning we have a drive to help people and know that we have really specific gifts that we can do that with. And I teach this conscious business model in my core program now, She Rise School. And in She Rise School, the curriculum is broken down into 4 specific phases. Embodiment is phase 1, and this is no accident because what I have found after being an entrepreneur for over 16 years is that if we try to skip the phase of embodiment, we will not feel confident in what we're selling. We will probably have imposter syndrome creeping up. And ultimately just not really ever feel fulfilled in our work because we're always looking for that outside approval and validation. Hey, I know these things because I have felt all of them and spent time doing something but not taking the time to actually honor it and honor myself and my true gifts, and then also the embodiment. So when I talk about embodiment, what I mean by it is really intentional, sustained feeling. So when you hear embody, you recognize, well, that obviously has to do with your body, the physical part of you, and that is true. So our feelings are the part of us that are, constantly creating the outside world, but come from the inside world. And so we need to address this, like what is happening on the inside world that's affecting the outside. As we know, as it is below, so it is above. And I think I just totally said that wrong, but you know what I mean, right? It's like as it is in, it is out. And our external reality is always mirroring what's happening on the inside. But a lot of times when we get into the business world, and especially the online business world, we start to look at, well, what do I have to do? Okay, I see what she has and I want that. So how do I get it? How do I have it? We need to get clients, and it's all of this external action. And when we desire to make money and to impact people, it can be easy to think that actually doing the self-care and taking the time to set intention and to be really deliberate and intentional about spiritual practices, that this part is not as relevant in some way, and that it's more valuable to be doing the money-making things. Like, how often have you heard this where people say, identify your money-making things and then just do those? But for highly sensitive women specifically, that is just a load of crap. Because if we just go right to the money-making things and we are not in alignment with our highest self, with that part of ourself that helps us get out of our own way and really tap into intuition, then we aren't going to make as much money. And if we do make a bunch of money, it's not going to be as fulfilling as it would be. And it potentially even will lead to burnout. Excuse me. So what does this look like for you? And how can you start to identify, is this a phase you have mastered? I love to talk about mastery, because when you have mastered something, that to me means that it has become a habit. When you have something that is habitual and it's a positive habit, you get to move on and you don't have to think about it consciously. So this is really, really cool, because this conscious business model that I have created, you can really understand how you can use it to grow anything. For example, you can scale any business using this model, and you're going to recognize this as you go through this 4-week conscious business model series, because it's not as though you're going to do embodiment work and then just move on and never do it again. But once you've mastered these certain parts, you don't have to have mega practices around them, because the practices become habits. If you haven't listened to me talk about habits, I do have another podcast, and I will try and link the number for you below. And it's like Making Next Level Habits. It was maybe like 6 or 7 episodes ago. And so this is super, super important, because if the goal is to create intentional, sustained feeling, then we have to really question, well, what are you doing to do that? What are you committed to? And what are you feeling now? Because if you're feeling nervous, disempowered, fearful, like you need to hide, and you're stuck in old stories that you're going to be too much if you show up, or maybe not enough, then you need to create habit around new feelings. And so if those don't happen and we just move on to the expression phase, and I told you I'd talk a little bit about this, but it's because everything leads into each other that it's really important to recognize, why am I going to do this? Why am I going to take the time to actually do what in the masculine business model would never be done? It would never be recommended. You would look like a slacker. And maybe even in your own life, there are people who would judge, oh, you say you're building a business, yet you're just sitting and meditating. Or you say you're building a business, but you go to the gym until 9:30. Yeah, homie, that's what I do, because that makes me feel good. And guess what? When I do a live training later today or get on this podcast, y'all like me a lot better. Y'all like me better because I'm nicer and I have better vibes. So tell them that, business is really about know, like, and trust. The expression phase that we move into after embodiment is all about visibility. It's about telling your story. It's about creating content and getting yourself in front of the people who need you. And the whole reason to do that is for know, like, and trust. So if you're not building that know, you really know yourself, like, you really like yourself, and trust, you trust yourself, then other people are going to have a hard time. Wow, I got major throat chakra happening. I believe this is powerful. You're going to have a major time or a harder time having people really believe in that. So that's why to take the time for yourself, because you're going to know yourself better. And then when you present your great work to the world, people are going to understand it better. You're going to be able to speak about it more clearly. And when you like yourself, like I said, you're going to like me better if I take the time to do my practices and I feel centered and I feel aligned. Maybe someone would get mad at me because I would say, well, I don't have time for that. Or, my business model, it only accommodates for coaching people about 4 hours a week. What? That's insane. You say you want to be a coach and impact people? Yeah, because when I show up for those 4 hours, guess what? I'm reaching a lot more people than I would if I showed up for 20 hours and I didn't like myself and I was cranky and not really walking my walk. So this is so important, just to start to look at these places in your life. So the big questions are, do you feel really confident in your gifts? Do you feel really confident in your gifts? Because this is where that trust comes in. I know I just talked about know and like, but the trusting that you're going to have the answers, the trusting that you're going to know the way, that you're going to know how to do the launch, that you, even when you're in a new situation, you can trust that you will figure it out. Do you trust yourself so deeply, and do you trust that your gifts are enough, that they are enough? Because again, people are not going to trust you on the level that it's needed for them to buy a high ticket program from you, which is what I teach to sell, because this is how we can really create time freedom and also attract people who are also doing big work in the world. So then we can have the biggest impact possible. Now, this is not to say that you can't have a low end offer and you shouldn't want to help more people. That's awesome too. But we also need to create a sustainable cycle of revenue and of understanding how you're going to bring in the money so that you can do these other things. I much prefer to have a business model where I charge for the worth of what I am offering, and I offer a lot in She Rise School. It is 100% worth the ticket it has on it, if not twice as much. So I feel good about that. Not everybody can buy it. And I understand that people can think, well, but I want to help people, not everybody can afford $10,000. That's crazy. Right. But I know my place. I know that if I help people who are ready to commit to their soul purpose and move it out into a sustainable business model that they can help more people, then that's me helping more people. And that for me personally, having a really low ticket offer, that does not serve the world, because that would take my energy away from doing my more potent work. And yet when I create a really sustainable business, then I get to do a lot of free content. So this is free, right? Anybody can listen to this. I do lots of live trainings and they're free. And I would much prefer to have a high ticket offer that supports my life and supports my clients at a really high level, and I can give my all to them. And then I do lots of free content. And so I don't really feel like I have to have a really low cost offer to meet people's needs. And I'll get into this more as we get into the third phase, which is creation. And it's all about creating your signature offer. But I just want to pepper this in because it's the embodiment work that allows me to feel that potent and powerful in my work. It's the embodiment work that allows me to know that when I put all of me in, I can trust that I'm being guided, that I have that spiritual connection to really help me and serve me as I'm serving the world. So embodiment is the key to this foundation. And I hope you're seeing that, where maybe it's just been, well, yeah, sure, that's a thing I've worked on. But I want to show you how you do it in conjunction with actually doing the damn thing. In conjunction with living your purpose in a really powerful way. Because I see two things happen with embodiment. One is it gets avoided. Because like I said, in the masculine structure, and if you fall into that, I'm not saying that you're a man or that maybe you are and maybe you're not masculine. I'm talking about masculine energy. If you fall into the masculine energy and that code that says you need to be doing only the money-making activities, that's how you make money, we got a big problem, because you're avoiding the things that actually probably will make you the money, that feed your soul, that feed your creativity. I have gotten the most potent and valuable downloads through my spiritual practices. Then we move them into the world. But it's not the chicken or the egg. It's literally the embodiment first. And so this happens for so many people where it's like, well, let me just do only the money-making things, and then eventually, I'll start a meditation practice. Well, I love to say it. I don't hate to say it. I love to say it. No, that's not the right order of things, especially if you're a highly sensitive woman. Now, the other thing that I see happen a lot is this: I'm going to just get stuck in embodiment and not ever do anything because it feels sort of safe, and I've cocooned myself to feel like I'm doing the work because I'm connecting with my purpose, but I'm not actually moving it out into the world. And identifying if you have one of these things going on will really, really help you, because then we can say, hey, if you're just stuck in that masculine, you're not prioritizing yourself and your nourishment and your sensitivities and your power and your gifts, well then, hey, let's start there. All we need to do is start nourishing yourself and changing those patterns of thought and behavior that judge you and that say you're wrong for it. We need to create a scenario that you're right for it. Okay, simple. Easy? I don't know. No, it takes practice. It takes having support. It takes structure, but it's simple. So the other side is if you're somebody who's like, oh yeah, I see it. I've been doing these practices and now I'm just sort of sitting on all this magic. What the heck? Well, it's simply time to move it into the world. So you have sort of the opposite thing going on. It's time to do it in a more potent way and to really take action and just jump. And that takes having support, and that takes having structure as well, and having clear strategy, like knowing why you're doing what you're doing. So, oftentimes I see people present concepts like this and it almost gets really heavy. Like, what are you talking about? This is so much, Jaya. Oh, I don't even want to look at this, right? Let me just go back to what's comfortable. But I don't want that to be the case here. I want to make it really simple for you to just say, what is one thing? If you recognize where you are you more in the masculine, and really the other side is the feminine of being stuck in inaction? And if, no judgment, the awareness is gold. If you have awareness that you're in one of those places, please praise yourself. Please give yourself credit. Please do not judge yourself, because that awareness is what is going to create the transformation for you. So identify where you are and just start to meet yourself there. If you have judgment, you got to start there. You need to soften the judgment. You need to be nice to yourself through your awareness. And if you already are getting downloads like, oh yeah, I know I've been needing to start a meditation practice. I know tapping's really good for me. I know I need to use my essential oils more. I know I need an Epsom bath. I know I need to be talking to my therapist or hiring a coach. Whatever it is, do it. Like, just commit to one thing. Don't commit to 10 things. And again, listen to my podcast about creating habit, because it's really, really important to create success quickly. So what can you do that will create the fastest success for you? If you want to start a meditation practice, don't start with 30 minutes, start with 5. If you need to get back to the gym and start honoring your body more, don't go to the hardest combat boot camp class. Go to the yoga class. Start small, but intentional. And if you're moving your work out into the world and that's where you are, then do one thing. Don't commit to 30 days of live video, or God forbid, 365 days. Not a fan of that. Commit to one video. Hey y'all, I'm going to do a video next Thursday. I'd love your support. Hold me accountable. And then celebrate yourself for doing it. And this is how we create those sustained intentional feelings that we truly desire. The feelings that are juicy and also help move your work into the world. Because the next phase we're going to dive into, phase 2 of the conscious business model, is expression. And we are going to talk about storytelling, about your soul thread, about how you identify your business pillars and how you really show up powerfully with visibility. Like, what does that even look like? And if you're already doing it, that's awesome. But if it's not working for you and it's not feeling good and you feel like you're on a hamster wheel, just creating, then this is really going to be amazing for you, because there is, ooh, I feel like I need to sneeze. I feel like I have like, oh, it's funny. I talk about expression and then I'm like, oh, let me just sneeze all over you. And then it didn't come. That's so funny. So, storytelling is such a powerful way to not feel like you have to create all this value-driven content all the time, because storytelling is what gives your audience an anchor into connecting with you. So we're going to chat about that, but I just want to sort of tease it out to say, but embodiment, without that, with standing on a stage, on a live video, even writing your story, without the embodiment is not as powerful. And if you're going to take the time to do it, if you're going to be doing live trainings, making Facebook posts, doing Instagram stories, putting yourself out there, you may as well be getting the most bang for your buck, which means you are powerful AF and showing up in that power. I would rather you show up powerfully once a week than watered down 5 days a week. So let's do this thing. Please let me know if this was helpful to you. You can message me over at She Rise. It's actually she dash or underscore, whatever that is, Rise podcast. Or at the Jaya Rose. I'm connected both. You'll be able to connect to both the podcast page and to me. Send me a message. Let me know if this was helpful. Let me know, are you more, in that masculine, it's judging everything? Or are you more in the feminine where you're like, I'm afraid of doing the things? Let me know. And let me know if any of these suggestions were helpful for you. And if you're looking forward to the rest of this 4-phase series. Because I sure am. This is super fun. And I can't wait to lay this out for you. And just so you know, I have opened the doors for She Rise School. So if you're liking this content and you're like, oh, I already know I need embodiment. I already know I need expression. I already like what Jaya is saying about how I could create a business where it's more potent and I'm serving, higher level people that are also serving other people, or just serving people in a way that really is, it's more efficient for you so that you don't have to work so damn much, then reach out to me also. I will put the link below to She Rise School. It's actually just sheriseschool.com, and check it out, because we are enrolling in January and then starting in February. And also, just so you know, you get a free live event that's going to be happening in Portland, Oregon in March 22nd and 23rd. This is a beautiful experience. It's a 9-month-long program, and it is the full package. Like, if you're ready to up-level in every part of your life and create a sustainable 6-figure plus business that really is from your gifts, not anybody else's, is really about you and your intuition, this is for you. So check it out and message me or fill out the application and we can get on a call together. All right. So much love to you. Can't wait to hear from you. And just remember, when you move, everything moves.